folks, this is Hillbilly Jim for Kentucky Blues Television, and I've got a real pleasure and a real high spot for you right now. We're right here just a little bit before a great concert here at the Brickyard in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and we have one of America and one of the world's greatest bluesmen alive, Lil Dave Thompson. Dave, good to see you, brother. What's happening, brother?
How you doing, man?
Glad you come back and visit with us again. We always look forward to you being in here. It's always a good night when you come in, Dave. We know you're going to bring us some honest blues, and I'm going to ask you a few questions here about a couple things. Where some of your travels took you to? Where have you been lately?
Well, we just coming off a tour, man, up around Indiana, and we did the Chicago area. We was around Missouri, up around Cape Girardeau, St. Louis.
Right.
And we're hitting here tonight. We're heading back down to Mississippi to do Jackson, and we're going out to do a West Coast tour after this here.
Wow.
In about 3 days, we'll be at home. We'll be hitting the West Coast.
You might need a truck driver, Dave. You've got a new record out.
Right.
Tell everybody about your new CD and how they can get it and what it's all about.
Well, it's a nice album. Just finished. It just come out. The title of the album is called Deep in the Night. It actually comes out and hit the stores on October 21st. But right now, you can get the CD from me here. I mean, on my shows. You can contact my label at Electrify Records there, and you can get that CD, and you can also go to Amazon.com and pick that CD.
Well, let me ask you something. When you go in and record, do you use your road band, or do you get studio musicians to record?
I always use studio guys.
You like that way, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, you guys, the studio guys, they'll write it out,
Yeah.
and they'll play it exactly the way that you build the demo and send it in. They'll write it out and play it exactly the way you want it.
What's your feeling about the state of the blues in America and the world in general?
Well, I mean, the blues. I think the blues, man. I love the blues. Hey. I think the blues is starting to take off, man. A lot of young guys keep on, they're starting merging on the scene, new artists, up-and-coming artists. Every time you turn around, there's some new young guitar slinger coming out with a new album. I think
that's right.
Yeah, I think the blues is really taking off, man, starting to take off anyway,
I hear a lot of one of my favorite bluesmen of all time in you. I hear a lot of one of the greatest guitarists that ever picked up a guitar, the great late Albert King, in you. And I also hear in your song stylings a lot of the big man. Did you ever get a chance to meet Albert King?
I never got a chance to meet Albert, man. I wanted to get a chance to meet him. Let's take that back. I met him one year at the Delta Blues Festival in Greenville, but he wasn't performing. He was just, visiting.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out. Yeah. So I met him for a split second, but never got a chance to see him play live.
Well, when I first heard you play live, it really touched me. I could tell that you got a lot of his vocals down there just right, and of course your playing is absolutely in that whole bluesman style from Mississippi. Well, when you were a young man growing up down in Mississippi, I know most folks start out listening to music in the church and from the family. What was your first musical influences down in the South there?
Well, my father was a musician, so blues, my father played in a blues band, so back then I was a young guy. I guess I was listening to a lot of the Muddy Waters, Lightning Hopkins, Jimmy Reed, Howlin' Wolf. That was the kind of stuff my father was doing, with his band. So I grew up on that, Before I really joined the band, I was one of the younger guys just play guitar alone by myself, and I learned how to play the old traditional blues.
Little Dave, I noticed you got this great three-man band here like you always do. I love the power of a three-man band, man. I can hear everybody, and there's no place to hide when it's just three of you out there playing. And you got a couple of guys. You got a guy on bass and a guy on drums that are just amazing. Tell us what the guys' names are.
Yeah, the bass player, Spencer Burns, is the bass player.
Yeah.
And the drummer is Terry Taylor on drums.
Terry Taylor, double T. I tell you what, those guys must have cut their teeth on the blues too, because I know they really know their chops. I've seen your bass man play many times, and he really keeps it together for you. Isn't that a great feeling to have a good band behind you like that, where you can just go out there and do what you want to? And they're always there. I noticed Little Dave in the mold of all great blues men, all great band leaders. You run a tight ship, don't you?
Yes.
That's historically, folks, in the blues, the Albert Kings and your Muddy Waters and all those guys. They run a real tight ship with their musicians and their band. they made sure they had to be there. If they weren't there, there was repercussions, right? I'm sure you've had to throw out some repercussions from time to time in your years in the blues, huh?
Exactly.
Well, that's good, Dave. Listen, as we talk about other musicians and things like that, is there anybody out there today that you're listening to that you really like, or are you still going back to the old guys, or is there a new artist out there that we might ought to look forward to? And who would you recommend?
Mr. Chris Kane.
Chris Kane, wow.
He's another Apple King, BB King guy, but he's a bad guy also himself. Original. Chris Kane is the next guy, man, for sure.
Well, it's funny you said that about Chris Kane, because we've asked Chris Kane about you before. He talks about you too. He says, he's all right, Lil Dave, man, I got to see. And of course, Chris Kane, we've been lucky to have him come in here too, and he's another one of those guys that is just really steeped into the blues, and you can feel it. Like I can feel when you sing and play, it's the blues. There ain't no doubt about it. And you know what? The blues really will help you. Thanks a lot. And we'll talk to you next time. Once again, this is your boy Hillbilly Jim here with Lil Dave Thompson for Kentucky Blues TV. See you next time.